Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Star Citizen Alpha 3.18 has now gone live, but what's happening next? What's happening with Alpha 3.19? What features can we expect? When's it going to turn up? All that sort of jazz. So when is the first question we should ask. Cloud Imperium have said that Alpha 3.19 will be coming before the end of May, or with Fleet Week, which is coming at the end of May. It's built on the Alpha 3.18 codebase though, so it's 3.19 in name only. It's not really its own branch, it's technically a 3.18.x patch. So what does that actually mean? It should mean that the devs are able to get that patch more stable and bug-free, but conversely, it's likely that it's not going to have any massive new features, or any features that are able to be put in would be able to be integrated into that 3.18 codebase rather than having to branch off. Also, we're not expecting a wipe of any kind for 3.19, so bear that in mind. Wipes could happen though. Cloud Imperium just haven't announced any, and it doesn't look like there will be, but we'll see what happens. Star Citizen Alpha has a variety of new features that are currently planned that Cloud Imperium have talked about. We've got Lorville 2.0 and sort of increasing the cityscape there. So you can expect to see the city of Lorville at much higher detail, much better looking. There's a load of new buildings that you can fly around. There's less restrictions on moving around that landing zone, flying between the buildings. There's going to be more buildings to land on. The sort of city itself is over twice the size. There are going to be new missions in that area. There's going to be missions tied to all of the sort of new locations and the tops of the buildings you can land on. You can expect a much better experience at that city. Yeah, really looking forward to it. We do know as well that beyond that, Cloud Imperium are looking to then have the buildings that you can sort of land on and various other locations sort of enterable in the future. So either later in 3.19 cycle, so later in the year, or maybe next year, we'll start to see those sort of buildings open up and us be able to do missions and have sort of a exploration experience and lots of other combat and stuff in the interiors of buildings in those zones. The Lynx. So this is a new vehicle for 3.19. It's the sort of touring luxury high-tech version of the Ursa rover. It's sort of bundled with the Constellation Phoenix and the Constellation Emerald. It's effectively the P-72 but a ground vehicle, if you see what I mean. Sort of the P-52 compared to the P-72 is the sort of same as the Ursa rover compared to the Lynx. At least that's what I believe. I have not seen any new updates beyond that. We know that it's going to potentially be in that 3.19 initial release. The new player experience. So this is so important for Star Citizen. So it's listed as an initiative for improving the initial first 30 minutes of gameplay experience, which will help players understand the context of the world and introduce them to some of Star Citizen's basic functions. This update focuses on the experience in Area 18 and Bajani Point. So this is around ArcCorp. So bear that in mind. That might be the place that you want to spawn in 3.19, if you're a new player at least. It's weird though, because obviously they've got that Lorville sort of cityscape expanding, and I would have thought that they'd want to have the new player experience there, but that's obviously not what they've gone for. I did see that they've been working on various other things like tooltips and improvements to HUDs and that sort of information as well, so expect a much slicker experience. But just being able to get in game and have your hand held for the first 30 minutes or so of gameplay, so that you do not need an external tutorial for the game now for new players, will be absolutely awesome. The problem is, will Cloud Imperium be able to keep this regularly updated? Because that's the problem with tutorials and new player experiences. They change vastly from patch to patch. And if Cloud Imperium don't update it appropriately, well, then it's just not appropriate for anyone to use. There are new missions as well they've got planned. So there are new salvage contract missions. These are listed as, with more civilian access to salvage ships, contract brokers are offering salvage jobs for derelicts around Lagrange points and around Stanton. These brokers charge a fee for their services, so require some buy-in, but the contractors are free to then keep any salvaged material for resale. So if you want to buy a salvage site effectively, you can get a mission and then you get a waypoint to go and do that. And there might be some more lucrative salvage jobs. There might be ones that take you to like 890 jumps or whatever, but they might cost more of a buy-in. Obviously, you'll also be earning rep with a sort of salvage guild, and there might be some sort of personal and less than legal missions. You're likely to see a bit of a breakup where there's sort of lawful ones, sort of neutral ones, and unlawful ones that you might get from Clovis Darneely. So yeah, expect some more sort of salvage type missions to open up. Really looking forward to when they also do this with mining and cargo, having these sort of contracted missions that give you sort of stuff to do with those gameplay mechanics. They go, well, actually, you can buy in to do a hauling contract. You can buy in to get these mining contracts and then earn reputation and then potentially get more and more sort of this gameplay that's waypointed for you. Yeah, really looking forward to that. There are also new Ghost Hollow PvP focused missions. So they are adding a new mission type to the Ghost Hollow point of interest in the Stanton system, making use of the COM array as well as the AI nav mesh. This mission type will create PvP encounters where players will need to fight for control over terminals for a chance at big credit payouts. So for people that don't know, Ghost Hollow is basically the big reclaimer wreck on Microtech, and there's a little sort of settlement there. It's a cool little area, and Cloud Imperium were working on sort of like take and hold credit printing missions, which I believe this is what this has become. Again, they sound a little bit like Jump Town, but they're on much more regularly. So that's what we've got listed at the moment from the roadmap, but there are a large range of other features that I'm expecting that potentially could turn up in this patch. Some of these are maybes, some of them are what Cloud Imperium have been talking about over the last quarter, other bits are from the progress tracker on the roadmap showing us work complete, and some are just rumours that sort of make sense that they'd fit them in here. So take them with a pinch of salt, though I do expect at least some of them to turn up. Arena Commander updates. So Cloud Imperium are running this sort of initiative for revivifying Arena Commander over the next year or so, and we're going to see more and more and more sort of additions to Arena Commander. So they're adding a new map, which is basically Jericho Station as a Arena Commander map. They are changing all the sort of points values and updating the look of the levels. They're improving all the menu systems, sort of bringing it so that it's on a single page for both Star Marine and Arena Commander, and they're sort of updating the racing maps as well. I believe they're bringing the Persistent Universe races into the Arena Commander. But yeah, a big overhaul of Arena Commander, making it much more playable and for players to want to play it. And yeah, expect Vandal Swarm and Pirate Swarm to get some good updates there as well. So that could well be 3.19. We get at least some more of that. Vulkan integration. We know that Cloud Imperium have been working on Vulkan integration for a while. The Gen 12 renderer has been deployed in 3.18. Looks relatively successful as well. They'll probably have a little bit of a Gen 12 update in 3.19, and potentially we will see the first iteration of Vulkan added properly to that patch. Now, that could mean some pretty good client frame improvements and a much more scalable Star Citizen with some modern graphics options and some bells and whistles. That'll be very exciting if they do get Vulkan in then. If it's not in 3.19, I would expect it to be part of the 3.19 cycle at some point. We can also expect to see evolutions of a load of the mechanics in-game, including I'm expecting to see more cargo refactor stuff. So we know that Cloud Imperium want to put 32 SCU cargo containers, so significantly larger cargo containers. They also want to put sort of 1/8 or 1/4 size cargo containers in or update them. So we might see also things like the Hull C that turn up. We know that's pretty much ready to go, but they want those larger cargo containers for it. And then really, how do you move those large cargo containers? Well, there could be some cargo updates at stations and things like that. They could just do it like they do now, where they teleport cargo in, but actually moving the boxes, really we need ship-scale tractor beams, and we know that Cloud Imperium have been working on those and the SRV a lot, so we might see the Argo SRV, we might say ship-scale tractor beams also turn up in this patch or part of the 3.19 cycle. There's obviously various other new ships and vehicles that could turn up. Cloud Imperium have been working on a load of unannounced stuff. New points of interest, so expect to see more outposts, more caves, derelicts, more derelicts, salvage settlements. We've seen some settlements that have been built out of various salvaged pieces of ships. Sort of all of that together sort of makes sense. Cloud Imperium combining that with some rivers and lakes and all the other tech that they've got now. We do know that there's been a load of AI and NPC updates and improvements that Cloud Imperium have been working on that they want to start adding to the game. So this is a mixture of various social and combat AI and behaviors. They look like they are getting ready to be integrated to me. It's possible that they want to wait for it to be integrated a little bit later as like a big update, or maybe when they've got they're closer to like server meshing, maybe, because there might be some server issues that prevent these sort of new AI updates from actually making any form of sense yet. There are things like we might see updated sort of bomb mechanics, because Cloud Imperium have been working on that a lot recently. If the stars align, we could see the Spirit series of ships. I'm really looking forward to these. They're sort of like competitors to the Freelancer and Cutlass series. If we don't see that in 3.19 initial, I would expect to see it in the 3.19 cycle at some point. And one of the other things actually I probably better say is I'm expecting the 3.19 cycle for quite a long time. And until we get 4.0. Now, it's possible we could see like 4.0 late at the end of this year, or early to mid next year, because Cloud Imperium might be pushing 4.0 out with either server meshing light or no server meshing, just to get Pyro in our hands ASAP. So bear that in mind, but I'm not expecting a wipe 3.19. Anyway, let's get back to that. We know that Cloud Imperium have been working on a variety of dynamic event updates as well, so there could be a new event, or they could have modified and upgraded some events like Xenothreat and stuff. Hacking, Cloud Imperium have been working on hacking a lot, sort of a HUD minigame to get involved with, and they obviously want hacking as part of more missions. Bounty Hunting version 2 is something that Cloud Imperium have been working on for a while as well. Very excited to see it in game. Looks like it could be ready at some point for 3.19's cycle, and so this would be sort of tracking bounties and targets, and those locations being updated when they get seen or spotted by either other ships or stations or comm arrays, and there would be missions and stuff tied to getting these bounties, potentially bringing them back alive or otherwise capturing the body. So yeah, some cool updates with that. There are things like scanning and radar updates and some Mobi-Glass potential updates, MFD, HUDs, sort of stuff like that, and a lot of things like that being worked on. It'd be nice to see some tweaks and updates there. We do know they're also working on things like the star map, so it might all come a bit later. There's new FPS and weapons that we might see with like some of the Volt Electron weapons being put in game that Cloud Imperium have been working on. Salvage vehicle munching is interesting as well, because Cloud Imperium have been working on that for a while. It looks like it's finishing off some of its work at least. So it's more likely to turn up later in 3.19's branch rather than the initial release, if it does turn up, but this is getting the Vulture and the Reclaimer able to do another sort of stage of its salvage process, taking big chunks of salvage and sort of making that into cubes. Sort of harder to tell where we stand with those salvage updates at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see. Now, the other thing that's happening as part of 3.19's release, or very soon after it, is Fleet Week. So Fleet Week is a big event, and it will be part of a free fly. It's a sort of combat trade show / expo as well, so there'll be an expo hall that players can visit during the couple of weeks of Fleet Week, where you can try different combat ships throughout those 2 weeks that will change every day based on the sort of manufacturer that's on show. So you can rent these ships for free. They sell them on the website at the same time, sort of in parallel, and there are a load of events as well. So the expo hall's cool. There's a load of cool stuff to see each day, but there'll be like the UE Navy flying around between space stations, so you can see some giant ships like Idris and Javelins, but also things like the giant Bengal carrier and some military ships as well, so like the F-8 Lightning and the military Hornets, stuff like that. So it's quite cool to see that. There's typically fireworks and things going off. There's often a tour of the Javelin, which you can get involved with, which basically has various voice actors that you can meet as you go around the interior of a Javelin. It is one of the biggest sales events for Cloud Imperium each year, and it attracts hundreds of thousands of players to purchase and sort of new ships and get involved with Star Citizen, try it for the first time. Hopefully it won't have a terrible launch like 3.18's live build did. As long as it's all stable and people can log in and play, that's the sort of main thing. And with 3.19 basically being a 3.18.x patch, I think that it's much more likely we'll get a significantly more stable experience. I am hoping we see some new stuff with Fleet Week this year, but what do you think? Are you excited for Alpha 3.19? What features do you think could make it into that initial launch? Are you super excited about Fleet Week? Is there a particular ship that you want to try and get hold of? So typically with Fleet Week, they sell and display combat ships, military ships, logistics ships, things that support those military ships. And there are often a few new ships and vehicles that go on sale as well. So some straight to flyable stuff. So bear that in mind. You might see a concept. Is there anything you're expecting to see turn up for Fleet Week? But whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. It's 2023. There's no need for a VPN like NordVPN, right? In the modern era. Wrong. What's this, a Silent Hill styled ad? No, due to copyright, it's actually a Quiet Mound ad. But that siren means that someone's got my browsing data and hacked all my sanity away at Starbucks. Oh no, that guy's got a triangle on his head. I've never had a Silent Hill incident while using nordvpn.com/BoredGamer. By God, can you risk not having it? Well, probably, but why take the chance? NordVPN can help you access more content on the internet from more countries in a safer and more private way. It's an essential tool in your arsenal in 2023 against legally distinct triangle head. Check out the links below for one hell of a deal. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For March, we are giving away an Argo Raft, the mighty little hauler that could. Soon, it should be able to make use of its 32 SCU cargo boxes, but in Alpha 3.18, it's going to be able to make you some serious Alpha UEC from cargo hauling. It also comes with a game package and lifetime insurance, all you need to get started in your Star Citizen career. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. Please consider becoming a YouTube member with the join button under our videos or using the links below Patreon. It really goes the extra mile to support us making daily content for Star Citizen. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe and share it with your space friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.